Show some emotion. This is X3. This is all about emotion. Ready?
Roll cameras, please.
It's good to be back.
3, 2, 1, action!
There's a lot going on. There's a great story. It's very emotional this time around. You know, your heartstrings will probably be tugged on.
Let's meet up with the old chums and get together and do it again. So I think it's very much in that spirit that I'm back.
I still don't know why I'm here.
Fundamentally, we come back with the same group of people to produce yet another story.
It is, you know, almost like summer camp. We're all here. We're all doing something we love.
It's true, yeah. I get the suit and everything, so it's pretty cool.
I get to come to work and fly all day. It's a good job.
The first film, it was a great experience, and then the second film came around and it was a little easier because everyone was sort of comfortable in their suits and everyone was friends and it was a big family. Now it just keeps getting easier and easier as we go along.
I look at them and I think, these are my guys. You've grown up so well, you've turned out so nicely.
It's a fairy tale for grown-ups.
It's time for another X-Men movie because it's been 3 years since the last one. And if we'd waited any longer, there would have been riots in the streets, as far as I'm concerned. The cast is one of the things that have made these movies what they are. And the importance of having each of them back in this movie was a given. We needed all of the players back. And luckily we have them all and we've added to them. But, you know, having Hugh and Hallie and Patrick and Ian and Anna and Jimmy and Famke, and the list goes on, really helped solidify it in the universe that we've been telling these stories.
The camera's gonna be up, it's gonna be back, it's gonna be his point of view, it's gonna be kind of up to here. This is like a dream come true. I'm here working with some of the greatest actors in the world, some of the most beautiful actors in the world. I mean, Halle Berry, Rebecca Romijn, Famke Janssen. I'm like a kid in a candy store. It's the greatest experience of my life.
My name is Famke. Famke.
I can't say that.
Famke. Try it. Try it with me. Famke.
I'm able to experiment and to try things and to have fun and create something that is different than anything I'd ever done before. And then we'll do a piece here.
Brett has a lot of energy, and the movie is in keeping with 1 and 2. He did not make it a different movie, otherwise it wouldn't have worked.
Low shot. People are rushing by, crossing, foreground.
I think he went for the dramatic, you know, to make the story personally complicated, and we didn't have that before, trying to make it as kinetic and visceral as possible.
Camera's here, running, we're running with it, look. Go.
Brett brings energy and humor and excitement and creative energy to the process of making this film.
Boom, we catch him here, we start to go, boom, we're here. We're not all the way here because we're on them.
Brian brought his own energy in the first 2 movies, and that was wonderful, and Brett brings a little different kind of energy.
And the guy just is always going and going and going, and sometimes I don't know, you know, I see him at 6 in the morning after we've been working for 12 hours, and he's still the same as when we first started.
It's a big thing to come on such a huge movie with a big past that Brian had so successfully established and really take it and make it his own.
Brian did a fantastic job at establishing the tone of this world, and the characters and the actors are just kind of helping me to keep it consistent throughout. Maybe you try to pull her across you and you kind of bump into each other, and that makes you guys stop. Working with Hugh Jackman and Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart and Famke and Rebecca Romijn, they've done this before. They've lived these characters, and so they help me with the rules. You know, they come in there and they go, but Brett, Mystique wouldn't do this because of this and this and this. I go, okay, well, let's try this. Do it naturally the way you would do it instead of me telling you like 2 and then 1. He makes making a movie fun, and he makes the actors better because they have that energy and they really want to perform for him. And go. He's just an incredibly collaborative guy. He has no ego about making movies. Truly, it's for him a collaborative group process, and the best idea wins. And there's a lot of directors who they think they're the king of the movie. And Brett is not like that. This is not an empire. Like you could see it, like you could just see like that, like with your eyes. We had that same angle on you. Look. We're all lucky to be doing what we love to do, and he never loses sight of that. One more. Excellent. Last one. Good. We got it. Cutting. Okay. Checking. Good.
When we started Marvel, we always tried to get characters that were believable, relatable. And in order to get those kind of characters, they have to seem like real people.
What have you done to her?
Logan, you have to understand.
You're talking about a person's mind here, about Jean.
She has to be controlled.
Control?
With the possible exception of myself, most people are flawed. Most people have problems. Most people, besides what their actual occupation is, there are other things that worry them.
I don't have to be psychic to see that something's bothering you.
In the village where I grew up, when droughts were at their worst, I brought rain. My powers were seen as a gift.
So in the characters that I wrote about, I tried to give them that extra dimension of problems in their personal lives.
But here we keep our gifts a secret.
That the real danger, like the real horror of this movie and the true threat that actually becomes almost global, comes from within the X-Men themselves.
There's not just another bad guy, you know, that we have to defeat. There's something intrinsically, there's a conflict that is intrinsically massive for the X-Men.
Magneto's not the problem, at least not our most pressing one.
A major pharmaceutical company has developed a mutant antibody, a way to suppress the mutant X gene.
Suppress?
Permanently. They're calling it a cure.
And, you know, the cure is the plot line of the movie, there's no question. But that's not the threat to the X-Men. The threat is not, will we be cured? The threat is the response to that cure.
Well, that's ridiculous. You can't cure being a mutant.
Well, scientifically speaking...
Since when did we become a disease? We are admitting then, if we take this cure, that something is wrong with us, and that we're not whole individuals and sort of worthy of being a part of the society the way we are. And to take the cure, to me, would totally send the wrong message.
And the concept for the cure, I thought, was so brilliant because every single X-Men character in this movie is going to have an opinion about the cure.
I mean, what kind of coward would take it just to fit in?
Is it cowardice to save oneself from persecution?
I think the introduction of the young angel is the center of the cure plot. That is what motivates our introduction into the cure, and I think it's just a very emotional scene.
Oh, God. Not you.
And it's a brilliant part of the script because what it sets up is this underbelly of what is a mutant? Are we proud of it? Are we ashamed of it? What would you do with it?
What's wrong is I can't touch my boyfriend without killing him. Other than that, I'm wonderful.
Hey, I don't think that's fair. Have I ever put pressure on you?
You're a guy, Bobby. There's only one thing on your mind.
Is she going to choose to live her life as a mutant and be basically segregated into a very tiny minority of people who never get to have relationships or anything? And is she going to let that eat her alive?
Is it true? They can cure us?
Or is she going to accept herself? And in this case, she's actually being offered an option of, you know, she can either be cured and change her life forever.
Look, if you want to go, then go. Just be sure it's what you want.
Or accept who she is and continue living the struggle. And it's a really huge decision that she ultimately has to make.
I think in a movie that's about choice, you have to show the other choice. You have to show the other decision.
This isn't what I wanted.
I know. It's what I wanted.
Magneto, as we know, is a character who survived extermination.
This cure is voluntary. Nobody's talking about extermination.
No one ever talks about it. They just do it.
The cure ignites the Brotherhood.
Will you join my Brotherhood and fight, or wait for the inevitable genocide?
He actually wants to change the world in favor of mutants.
Who will you stand with, the humans or us?
As opposed to Professor X's version of revolt, which is perhaps to integrate with the rest of society.
When is it acceptable to use our power, and when do we cross that invisible line that turns us into tyrants over our fellow man? Well, Magneto, of course, is still hanging around with his patch of scruffy scumbags, and none of them are people you'd want to share an elevator with.
You know who you're talking to?
Do you? And it's a real dilemma. And this is sort of at the heart of the story of X-Men, where the cure crosses over good guys, bad guys.
You killed the man you loved because you couldn't control your power.
No, stop it!
And it really makes every character, Wolverine included, make a decision about how they feel about being a mutant.
They can't cure us. You want to know why? Because there's nothing to cure.
I think, is distasteful to most of us if we think about it, to cure somebody because they're different. It's a horrible concept, really.
Mark. Sit here.
When we were sculpting the character arcs and the dynamics of X-Men 3, the one thing I really kept in mind in creating the screenplay for X-Men 3 is what is it that the audience is going to identify with? What is it that they're going to emotionally connect with in the movie? And the Dark Phoenix saga is most dramatic because it's about someone that they're friends with.
Jean.
Someone that they know, someone that's intimate, almost a member of their family, going bad. And that's something that had never really been done in a comic before, never taking a hero and genuinely making them a villain.
What I want is I want the audience to kind of feel like this is a really soft and
Tender.
tender moment.
The Dark Phoenix saga is one of the most famous stories from the X-Men comic books. It was the first time in a mainstream comic that a main character became something else, that lost control of who she was.
Who in one step has gone from being a normal girl to a power level that put her sort of 1.5 very small steps below God.
Look at me. Get out of my head.
The kind of thing where, as Phoenix, if she looked at someone and said, "Oh, you go to hell," she had the power to actually create the literal existence of hell and put this person in it. And how do you control yourself under circumstances like that? And out of that struggle came the genesis and the evolution and the final story arc of Dark Phoenix.
Part of what's so enduring, I think, about the Phoenix saga is that emotional, resonant impact of watching somebody you love start to implode and explode. Everyone can identify with, and it's something that we really tried to explore and exploit in some ways in X-Men 3. And for the X-Men, they have to make a decision. At what point is Jean no longer Jean and not salvageable? And for Wolverine, more than anyone else, the love he has for Jean makes it especially difficult.
It'll be all right. We can help you. The professor can help. He can fix it.
And the choice that Wolverine has to make at the end of this movie, particularly with Jean Grey, is the toughest choice he will ever make in his life. Ever before or ever again. And I think for a movie like this, there's very few scenes I've seen written where the choice is as tough as the one he has to make.
And when she, in fact, is in danger, he gets involved to save her, and at the end, he ends up having to save us from her.
The comic book world, the X-Men world, is full of thousands of characters, and we went through and selected some of the ones we've always wanted to see on screen, that the fans most have wanted to see on screen, Beast being one of them.
Mr. Secretary?
Yes.
The meeting's begun, sir.
Thank you.
Kelsey was so interested in doing the role, he came in and he auditioned, and he said it was the first time he'd auditioned in 24 years.
Hank McCoy, Secretary of Mutant Affairs.
And it blew everyone away. I mean, it literally blew everyone away.
Kelsey Grammer, I think, kind of embodies this Beast character. I mean, there's certain characters and roles that exist, and in my opinion, I don't think there's anybody else who could have played this part better.
Being blue, yes. I've had periods of blue in my life, of course, as did Picasso. Nonetheless, this is my bluest period.
I think it might have been a match made in heaven. I don't want to, curse it by praising it, but I have a kind of sophistication and intellect that the American audience assumes about me as an actor, and this character has that quality as well.
Actually, Mystique was recently apprehended.
And he has found a tone for the role, which steps so delicately between a truly terrifying appearing individual and a charming, intelligent, witty creature.
My boy, I have been fighting for mutant rights since before you had claws.
Did he just call me boy?
It's a great juxtaposition to see a man that looks as ferocious as any creature I've ever seen, who is as mild-mannered and focused and conscientious and thoughtful as this character is, and yet capable of extraordinary brutality, of being a very, very potent weapon if he's fighting for you.
And we trimmed the back or no?
Yes, they did.
We spent months and months perfecting the Beast. Facial expressions, the amount of hair on his body, the type of hair that's on his body, all the choices, the fingers, the nails, all the details of it. That was a fantastic experience.
GQ Beast? The makeup process it's not as bad as one might imagine. It's really start to finish about 3 hours. And, they take good care of my skin. They try to moisturize it before they apply the prosthetic devices. But I think you can still tell that it's me in there. I have a wonderful wig. I'm very muscular, so.
I feel so fit for this role. I really busted my ass.
Gary, make sure everyone's ready, because as soon as he's in, we should shoot. Okay. Juggernaut is pure force. Once he gets going, you cannot stop him. He'll bust through anything. He is a force to reckon with, let's say.
I honestly think Juggy is his own man. He's here because he's like, yeah, okay, let's go and bash a few X-Men up, So it's just because it's a battle, he's like, sure, we'll have some of that.
So I can kick some real ass. That time we hurt someone around here.
As a character, he's a lot of fun to write because he's just so overwhelming and, by nature, unstoppable. So he becomes a really good foil for whoever gets in his way.
And you can see that he just loves going to war. There's not much else to him.
What can one say about Vinnie Jones? He doesn't need the Juggernaut outfit to look scary.
Yeah, this is when I'm in shackles and then I break out. Break out.
He is Juggernaut in so many ways.
But the thing is, we could all have our moments. You just got to get in the gym more, boys.
Just start passing them out.
See, some of us take our characters seriously and some of us don't. 6 months of the gym.
Calm down. I can't do this. Yes, you can. Okay, just relax, son. Take it easy. Calm down. I can't do this. I promise you, it will be fine. Warren, relax.
And then we have Angel. Ben Foster has become this character. I mean, he spent months and months and months working out. I mean, when I started this movie, I hired him a few days later, and he's been working out ever since then. I didn't go for the beautiful, angelic guy that was drawn in the comic book. I went for the guy who had the emotional baggage of Angel, who had the character of Angel.
Angel, another classic from the original team. We knew we had to do it. Ironically, the technology I don't think was really there. When X-Men 1 was made, and even when X-Men 2, it seemed like it was going to be pretty difficult to create convincing wings. So to a certain extent, the technology caught up to the point where we thought, we can do this now.
There is something about the image of man with wings taking flight, which is somewhere in our DNA. When I see it, I get goosebumps. Bird bumps, angel bumps.
I don't think you can dismiss that philosophical aspect of what X-Men is about, that it is concerned with accepting of someone who is other, accepting the different, the strange or alien seeming, that is expressed particularly by my character. To accept those who are different is very powerful for lots and lots of people.
I like the idea in terms of the X-Men movies that they're about people feeling like they're outsiders. We've all felt that way. They also have heart, and films aren't about anything unless they have heart in them, and that's what I like about the X-Men. They care about each other. They care about each other deeply.
There's a lot of people who feel in some way that they're not accepted per whatever it is that they have, and it shows that people can overcome and people can come together. So it's really good. I think just people just like to go and lose themselves in these films.
Yeah, good luck with that. Throw me. Now!
And I think what these movies really kind of deal with on a sort of deeper level is being prejudiced against, and also how one deals with which side you fall on, whether or not you're gonna